we have with us a panel which is a mixture of both healthcare and the workspace sector. This is so because I personally have been seeing a lot of migration and cross-pollination of design trends, approaches, processes between these two sectors. Not just the two sectors, we've obviously seen offices becoming more like hospitals, hospitals becoming more like hotels, hotels becoming more like hospitals, the other way around, and homes becoming more like offices. So there's so much cross-pollination that is happening. So this is the reason we thought we'd probably address this migration of trends that is happening between different industries, between different sectors, and to aid us on this, to give us insights on this particular topic, we have with us an incredible panel of speakers. We have with us Mr. Biju S.A., who heads the projects and facilities at KIMS Hospital. We have with us Mr. Indranil Basu, who is the Managing Director for Project Management Vertical South India at Colliers. We have with us Mr. Shashidhar Sharma, the Associate Director at Cushman & Wakefield. We also have with us architect Nitin Hosbetu, who is the Design Director at IMK Architects, Mr. Mohanbir Singh, who is the founding principal at Creative Design Architects. We also have with us Mr. Architect Jayesh Ganesh, the lead design and regional head for Bangalore at Edifice Consultants. And finally, we have with us Mr. Vistas Bhagwagar, who is the principal architect at AVA Designs. This panel of speakers are someone who've come with a lot of extensive research and insights and experience in this particular industry. And with that, I am going to open this session and I'm going to put my first question across to Mr. Biju to understand what have been some of the biggest changes that have come in the design processes, design approach for hospitals, given this entire wave, since this entire pandemic has started. How has the hospitals adapted and addressed the flexibility, the functionality that is necessary in this particular scenario? Definitely. I was actually hoping if Mr. Mohinder could also touch base upon, he's also done extensive work in the healthcare segment. So probably shed some, if he could shed some light that he feels what have been changes in the hospitality segment for him from his angle as such.
See, now the healthcare sector has definitely undergone a transition here. And actually, let me just tell you that of late, our spectrum in healthcare designing has kind of seen healthcare designing different kind of scenarios. Let me just tell you, and then I will, because most of our previous learned speakers have already touched upon the various parameters and things like that.
Sure.
I can tell you how humanity, how environment, how we as healthcare professionals are reacting to something unprecedented that we are facing. So now, the kind of hospital, the challenges that we are given to us now. One was a mall given to us to design as a hospital. One was a hotel given to us to design as a hospital. One was for AIMS, that was a valley somewhere which was always seen flooded. That was given to us to design. And then another in Kanpur that was a simple structure. I think it was being designed as some office mall or something like that, which was given to us design.
So these are existing structures that were handed over to you to completely transform into.
Exactly. Transform is the right word. Reappropriation, if you may. Because what exactly happening to meet the influx of the new patients in this pandemic, we simply don't have, I'm not a manpower human resources guy, so I won't touch upon how we will staff these people, but as far as planning, design, construction aspect is concerned, we simply do not have the time to have greenfield projects coming up. I think it's a futile effort. I think where all we should focus now is people to come up and really come, and they are coming to us with all kinds of buildings. And the challenges that I'm facing, for example, let me tell you, there was this hospital, there was a hotel in Srinagar. You know, Srinagar is famous for hotels, and there were so many hotels. So
absolutely.
So there was this client who came to us and said, this is a hotel, I designed the structure, please design a hospital in it. So the challenges were, like if you have these machines, these CT machines, X-ray machines.
Absolutely, correct.
Different kind of loading characteristics and things like that. And then there's a structural impedance factor of 1.5, which is not there in normal buildings.
Correct.
So now we were supposed to, first of all, do an analysis, then think out where all the machines could be loaded and the structure could be made stable and reappropriated into a hospital.
Okay.
We have the kind of the shafts and ventilation systems, so which has been enumerated so much in detail. So how do we go about it? These are the challenges we are facing, and I think all healthcare designers will definitely, if they are to meet the healthcare sector demands of treating the patients, and I think we should do our bit on it, is to concentrate on how we can reappropriate our buildings to provide some kind of relief to the suffering humanity, and which is a designing under uncertainties, I would say, designing some order into some chaos, which is happening and which we have seen in the newspapers and all.
Correct, absolutely.
The other was a mall. This was for Yashoda Hospital. This was in Indrapuram in Delhi. So this was a mall. So the group bought this mall and they said, please make it into a hospital. Now it's functioning, yeah. So, that entrance hall was reappropriated as an entrance area, emergency was reappropriated. And then while we were going there, they said, okay, some more areas been added, please, to meet your demands of a good healthcare hospital, some more. So we were, incrementally adding the segments into it. So I think now that we have honed our skills on it, but once we took up this few years back, we were not
prepared. Absolutely.
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges. I mean, having done greenfield hospitals for 30 years, now suddenly doing these kind of, why the necessity arose was that the greenfield hospitals were simply not able to meet the demand. So we had to go in for things like that, And the other challenges that we are facing, I will slightly emphasize on this because I think the call of the day is to understand, because all the other healthcare designers will face similar situations where we have to reappropriate these buildings. The floor height is less. So what should we do? Making an operation theater requires around 10 feet of clear space, 2.5 feet of plenum above that. So, and another paraphernalia. So 14.5 feet to 15 feet is required for an OT to function with a laminate core. Simply the hospital buildings do require this, but office buildings and other reappropriated buildings do not have such kind of height.
Absolutely.
So things like that, and they do not have sunks for the areas where we want the sunks for pipes to, move around, because if there is a medically sterile area below that floor, naturally you can't have the pipes punched in and moving around. So these are the challenges that we were facing, for things like that.
Okay.
And then all designing in difficult areas like this hospital that we're doing for AIIMS Guwahati. This was an area which was inundated by water. So we had to dump lots and lots of earth there to make it, because this was an only area available near Guwahati where the AIIMS could be planned properly. And there was this Brahmaputra nearby. So we did a lot of landform analysis and things like that to make this hospital workable. So this is in a zone 5. So zone 5 means a lot of piles have to be driven into that area near to make it stable and things like that. So I guess these parameters, of course, are very important, which has been elucidated in detail. But I think the challenge that humanity is now facing is to provide hospitals quickly. Now, once I use the word quickly, then I will like to make a few more points here. We will also experiment with prefabrication. With prefabrication, you are able to cut down on the costs. You are able to work offsite. And the workmen also then are standing and working properly. There is a danger of things falling from the top because you are working there. So that is one aspect which will actually speed up the work. Then there is also some kind of a patient-focused design in terms of reappropriation and flexibility of spaces, meaning that, for example, if there's an emergency department and I have the day admissions on one side, and there is a factor saying that maybe the emergency is more in use during the evening times and admissions are happening more in the daytime. So can some spaces be reappropriated at appropriate times so that, the emergency can be expanded and day admissions can be expanded in the morning times and things like that. So all those flexibilities have to be built up into design, which are initially not necessary, but now it dawned upon us, and it is the healthcare designer's responsibility now to respond effectively
to these requirements.
the history doesn't say that we did not rise to the occasion.
All as architects, especially in the healthcare segment, what would that be? What would that have been in this particular any of we? I mean, I know it's already 5. I'm not going to take much of your time at all, but quickly, if you can conclude us, what has been your biggest learning in this segment as such?
Okay, Rashmi, I'll just chip in. The thing is that I think we need to reduce the load on the hospitals. And that can only happen once we have a kind of a paradigm shift in the way we treat patients.
Okay.
Can we go in for wearable hospitals? Can we enhance the telemedicine? Can we have hospitals reaching the homes? So these 3 aspects which I'm highlighting can go a long way to reduce the load in the hospitals.
Absolutely. That's actually a brilliant point, Mr. Singh.
Yeah. Now see that wearable hospitals, what it means is it's a small gadget you tie on your wrist or maybe put it on your neck or maybe hang it somewhere where make it a fashion statement. and it is collecting data. So all you have to do is to give that chip to somebody and all your biometrics and all are translated there. And then you get a transcription of your medical records and what the prescription. And then you go to the telemedicine. So, and then whatever can be done at your home, the hospital reaches out and does it. So in fact, we've been doing a lot of study in how we can reduce the load on hospitals, have a kind of, we're developing a kind of app, which probably as a hospital designer, so that people can put in their data and it goes to the hospital and you get the treatment. So correct. And I think what Mr. Basu was very rightly pointed out regarding the technology. So this technology, I just wanted to compliment him for bringing up this point, because there is like I said, a shift in the kind of design of hospitals. We're going to move in from departmentalized hospitals into cellular hospitals. Okay. Now, I think I might be shifting 5 years ahead in my thinking. But what cellular hospitals would actually mean is that you have a flexibility of treating multiple kind of ailments in a singular kind of arrangement, where there only the bed goes in and you got, I mean, of course, not translatable right now, but I think this is what we are moving in. And only the essential patients who do require the healthcare facility only go there. You don't go in for all cuff, you don't go in for things like that.
Okay.
My summing up of it.
Okay. You have no idea. I've been just constantly making notes, and the ideas that have come out of just this single session, for me, it's like I'm more like happy that I've had this. I'm just wondering when I share this with the industry how I'm going to put it across. But this is each session, each of the modules that you all spoke about had so much takeaways from it. Thank you so much. Seriously, it was great interacting with you all. Thank you, Mr. Biju. Thank you, Mr. Nitin. Mr. Thank you for bringing in that beautiful injunction between the two. And Mr. Basu, you touched upon the technological aspect of it, which is completely reinterpreting how these spaces are working. Thank you so much. Mr. Sharma, Mr. Mohanbir especially, he spoke about something that I wasn't expecting. I wasn't even prepared about the transformation of spaces, about existing structures moving as into hospitals. Thank you so much for each of that. Thank you, gentlemen. We can cut. I'll end this session here if you all permit as such. Is that all right?
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.